Hello and welcome to everyone. We're back with another very exciting PharmaLedger panel, and I can tell you that backstage that the panelists were having a good laugh, so that's good. I had to stop them so they could focus on the panel. Welcome to Xenia, Dan, Marco, and Hernando. Good to see you all again at the European Blockchain Convention. I'm now going to give the word to our moderator, Xenia, and enjoy the panel discussion.
Thank you very much, Victoria. So good afternoon and welcome to the PharmaLedger journey towards the digital trust ecosystem panel. It is our honor, to be here and sharing this panel with you today. We would like to welcome the audience to this session and thank you all for being here today. Also, I would like to welcome our three great experts and panelists. The first one is Daniel Fritz. He's the domain architect, supply chain and external supply chain from Novartis and project leader of PharmaLedger. Marco Cuomo, manager of applied technologies innovation from Novartis, and actually one of the technical managers of the PharmaLedger platform, and Hernando Giraldo from digital lab innovation and scouting from Behringer. And last, just to say, I'm Xenia Beltran, head of big data and life supporting technologies at Universidad Politécnica de Madrid and coordinator of the PharmaLedger project. And I'll be the moderator of this session. In the context of this panel, we can say that although blockchain is a technology that overcomes some of the centralization and less privacy-enabled gaps, the blockchain applications remain largely unexplored, especially for sharing and exchanging information in the health domain. So today, we would like to share our experience in this context and the PharmaLedger blockchain-based approach and how we are moving from the blockchain-based platform towards the creation of a health-enabled trusted ecosystem in healthcare. So first, Dan, let's start with you. Would you like to summarize and introduce a little bit PharmaLedger to the audience and also let us know how do you see PharmaLedger and how it can help to overcome the current paradigms, and for the pharma and for the healthcare domain?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Xenia. Also, thanks, Victoria, for the kind introduction. And thanks for this great opportunity to talk about PharmaLedger and what we're doing. So maybe I think we've had a couple PharmaLedger panels, but just a short overview of the project. A few years ago, we discovered blockchain and we said, wow, this is really powerful potentially, and we want a way to accelerate its adoption. But we realized that trying to do this in our own company is not going to really bring much value. Marco likes to say that blockchain is a team sport. So the first thing we did was to bring together some like-minded industry partners and to kind of get a consensus around an idea and a project where we could innovate, where we could develop some prototypes or some applications that are blockchain-based, and then use that as proof of the value of blockchain versus more traditional technologies. So blockchain is a 3-year project. It started last year in January with a kickoff. It consists of 29 partners. 12 of those are industry partners and 17 of those are public partners, which include the University Politécnica de Madrid and other universities, hospitals, some technical suppliers, of patients' organizations as well. And the PharmaLedger is under the Innovative Medicines Initiative, or IMI. IMI is a joint undertaking between the European Union and FPA, the European Federation of Pharmaceutical Industry and Associations. And this is a multi-year program which is looking to develop innovative approaches in healthcare. It turned out to be an excellent way for us to come together as a consortium with a larger group of members and to pool the risk and to pool the resources, and then also to benefit from public partners' expertise and the latest innovations with blockchain. So the ultimate goal is to implement a platform that's underpinned by blockchain and it's demonstrated with different use cases in 3 domains, those being supply chain, healthcare, health data, and clinical trials. In addition to that, we are the technical aspects and everything. We want to prove the value, as mentioned, show that these approaches have benefits over existing approaches. We also want to get the word out in terms of awareness, education, dissemination, one of the reasons we're here today. We have a work package in the project focused on all of the regulatory, legal, and data privacy aspects that we have to consider. And we also have a governance work package, which is focused on what would happen, not in the project governance, but actually post-project, to ensure the sustainability and the impact of the results or the deliverables after the project ends, which is going to be in December next year, actually in 1 year's time. So, I mean, that's PharmaLedger in a nutshell. You know, in terms of what we're really looking at is problems that one company can't solve on their own. And so we believe in the power of collaboration. We believe that these problems can only be solved if we come together jointly in collaboration and address them with new capabilities that don't exist today, but which have a lot of potential for the future. So I hope that gives everybody just kind of the background and the basics. And I'll turn it back over to you, Xenia.
Thanks, Dan. Yes, this is great. And actually, thanks for the summary. As Dan commented, okay, it's a big approach for collaboration from different stakeholders, but not only on different stakeholders, but also we go through different domains. One of these is the supply chain. The other one is clinical trials, okay, and the other one is health data. So actually, the idea is that all the partners collaborate and share, okay, in a trusted environment, okay, data on these areas. So, Hernando, would you like to give us a flavor of the patient focus on the side of the clinical trials and actually health data, where we are focusing on the patients and comment a little bit how is our experience and how we're developing and progressing with the blockchain platform there?
Yeah, thanks, Xenia. So I thought what I would do is just maybe spend a minute or two sharing with you from the Boehringer side as a sponsor, how we see the value of this work with IMI and the blockchain consortium. And I'll take you back to an example that we use within Boehringer, and even externally when we talk to our other partners about how we want to kind of understand the patient journey. And so the patient journey today is going through an evolution, much like the banking model. And if, you know, for those of you who are you know, who have a bank account or understand banking, if you look at the banking model from about 20 years ago, it's very similar to what our journey or patient journey is when we talk about clinical trials, which is what we do. And so back then, 20, 30 years ago, when you wanted to work with a bank, you did banking on their hours, even though they had your money. They told you when they were going to do banking, when they were going to be open, what time of the day, how they wanted to bank with you, how they wanted to interact with you, how they wanted to engage with you. And, you know, in clinical trials in pharma, for us, it's kind of the same. For the last 30 years, it's been, we sort of dictate or sort of push the rules down based on the regulatory of each country, how we're going to conduct trials. Well, the banking model's changed. I don't know the last time I actually stepped into an institution, actually walked into a brick and mortar and had to do anything there. The banking model has evolved in the last 20, 30 years to really everything on these devices, right? And so for us, post-COVID, as we come out of this COVID world, that model resonates because now our patient journey and the importance of this work is now really forefront. And what I mean by that is we can no longer tell patients how we're going to do it. We're now more patient-centric. We want to learn what they want to hear, what they want to see out of trials. And when we look around the landscape and try to figure out where there's innovation, this blockchain work that's being done by IMI and PharmaLedger is one of those pieces. So a lot of the work that we're doing here is very innovative and it's very leading edge. So we were able to take some of these use cases and ideas and bring them forward and kind of mold the way we do trials and help shape that conversation more towards the patient. Are we at the banking model where it's all phone? No, but I think that's the direction we're heading, and PharmaLedger is helping us that. The e-consent use case, which we're part of, is actually shaped in that vein, right? We're looking to bring capabilities and some of the features that we have now on phone, but also the ability to understand what the customers want and how they want it. And so for us, this is an incredible opportunity to take part in this. So I share that with you because it's really, for us, a driving force behind why we're part of the PharmaLedger and what we see coming out now and in the future as we go forward. I'll turn it back over to you.
Yes, so thank you, Hernando. Actually, yes, in PharmaLedger, we're taking this patient-centric approach as part of the domains that we are approaching as such, as a way to establish this kind of partnership among practitioners, because we have hospitals, the patients, their patient organization representing them, to really align decisions, okay, with the pharmas and actually all the process in the clinical trials, okay, regarding also and taking in account their wants, their needs, their preferences. Okay, but the ecosystem is more than the pharma, than the hospitals and patients. We are trying to get a really big ecosystem, and in this way, we want to define, which is a digital based, as Hernando said, trusted ecosystem. So for this, Marco, would you like to comment on our approach in how we are moving the PharmaLedger platform to get and reach this digital trusted ecosystem, having all these stakeholders involved?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Xenia, for this question. So when we started a few years ago with the whole blockchain, so we had always the idea we want to build something, an infrastructure for the healthcare industry. But what we do in fact is, there is a digital ecosystem which we try to, let's say, to foster and to build with the backbone of a blockchain-based platform to bring in, let's say, the trust or the trustless environment. So when we talk about the ideas we have with this digital ecosystem, we say we want to have a decentralized system. We want to have everyone is equal in that system. Everyone can participate. You also often hear, we want that the patient is back in control of their data, or companies are in control of their data. So we want to change a lot of these things we can see out today, which is a lot of things are centralized or siloed. So we want to break that up. So blockchain is one of these technology which help to build that, to build a decentralized environment, a decentralized ecosystem. But the blockchain is only the technology. You need also a decentralized governance around it, the decision, how you do decision in a decentralized way, how you involve patients, how you involve companies, how you involve universities, how can they be equal or somehow equal, how can you motivate people or incentive people to do something. Why should the patient share their data so that other company can benefit? Maybe because they're interested in the research, but maybe they get also an incentive in one or the other way. So with the blockchain as a technology, we have a very interesting technology doing that. Think about the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, or crypto, or token economy, and all these kind of things. But when you hear that, it sounds so easy. Yeah, you do an NFT and you can sell them and something like that, or you have governance token where you can govern something, but how you build that, and this is exactly the process we are in. So we know the technology, we learned about the technology the last 2 years. Now we come to the point to say, how can we now really foster and make this sustainable in the future? And the key here is the governance, and there's different ideas about it. You may heard about DAOs, a decentralized autonomous organization. They seem to fit very nicely, or they're ideally to build with the blockchain technology. So we are now thinking around this process to build a kind of an ecosystem which is maybe self-sustainable, so that you have tokens or incentive models or governance tokens to drive the whole thing. But it's a process, and we have to learn that and to figure out what is the right thing to make this digital ecosystem something which is sustainable over the next 5, 10, or even long, or 20 years. And this is the challenge I think we're looking right now. Back to you, Xenia. I don't want to eat up too much with that.
No, you are. It was great. So thank you, Marco, and we're just in the process and time. So I'm actually taking off from your words, okay, and building this ecosystem and looking that this is part of the sustainability that we want to create for PharmaLedger. You as pharmas, and also maybe Fernando from the patient also focus point of view, how do you see from your perspective the not only the motivations but also the future of PharmaLedger in your own companies or areas that you can share this, or the experience that you can share for this?
Sure. So number one, I think it's transformative, right? In the sense that, you know, I work for a company that sometimes is a laggard in some things, but you wouldn't think that now, right? So in the last 3 years, we have really kind of turned the tail a little bit and said, look, we see that innovation technology really can become a competitive advantage for us. So that we're part of PharmaLedger, that we're part of a use case, that we're taking all these lessons learned and we're able to bring them back to Boehringer and share those with our colleagues is a fantastic opportunity for us, because we're able to share some empirical evidence, right? So look at what the research says and look what we're doing. That to us is one of the unintended consequences of this, right? We wanted to be involved because of the research aspect, and we believe that blockchain has value to us. We simply didn't understand how much. So now we're seeing that. In addition to that, we're also now seeing that we got it at the right time, right? So it wasn't too early, too late. We're right at the point where on the S-curve of developments, we think that this is something that we need to keep an eye on and be more involved in. So for us, it's transformative, it's informative, right? And for us, it's really giving us sort of moving the bar a little bit. So as we as a pharma company look at the new ways of doing business, whether it's an innovation process, patient centricity, what have you, PharmaLedger and the work we're doing here is moving the bar for us further and further down the line, which is great, right? The goals just keep, the goalposts, right, just keep moving on us. I think that for us has been really the nice blessing, if you will, from the work that we've been doing.
Thank you. Dan, Marco?
I'll let it, Dan. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I mean, I just, to build on Hernando's comments, from the goals, objectives, in our company, we have, kind of 5 goals, which is around operational excellence, data and digital, innovation, giving more back to society, and also on changing the culture. And I think, across the board, all of these objectives, big objectives, can be supported through the blockchain journey. So, I mean, from a culture perspective, really, you're looking at more external engagement, more collaboration, more decentralized. So no single source of authority in the picture. Operational excellence. We talk about blockchain removing the friction with transactions, or even eliminating a lot of the complexity that we have. Of course, this is about data and innovation. That's the core of the whole solution, and so really across the board, it is in line with the strategy that we have, and can contribute to all of our main objectives.
And Xenia, if I could add one more thing, I think that we've talked about this at the PharmaLedger, and I think we talk about it also, Boehringer, but a lot of the work that we do, unbeknownst to many, is pre-competitive. Right. So in this space of ours, when we talk about sponsors and pharma, we all do the same thing. Our competitive advantage is our compounds, our drugs, right? The chemicals involved in the drugs, these life-saving drugs that we bring to market. And so the work that we do here is pre-competitive, which means you're throwing in the power of 16, 17, 19 very powerful, right, companies together to solve some solutions that are pre-competitive that affect us all. That has been an incredible opportunity as well. Right, to join in that, to be able to take the lessons learned from 17 other partners.
I think, and to build on that, we changed the way or let's say we have the potential how the healthcare industry in the future is collaborating. We could see with the pandemic already, there is more collaboration, and things are much faster on the market, which helps a lot. But I think with the blockchain, we have also a technology or ideas. How can that be in the future? So this pre-competitive stuff can be more collaborative, and we have here the tools to bring that, to foster that. And when you see what is going on everyone heard about the metaverse or the NFTs or the Web3 and all these kind of things. And a couple of things in the gaming industry start to test out how can we use NFTs in a game and how is that working in the business world. And we have to figure out how can we bring that all together in the healthcare world. And I think blockchain is in a lot of these things kind of a base technology. It's not the only thing, by far not, but it is the part where you can say, how can I preserve my assets across the different industries, across the different worlds and ecosystems. So I think in a mid and long-term view, we change the way how we work together or how we in the healthcare industry. And I think that is fantastic to see. Where it goes exactly, I think no one knows, or maybe some people have some visions and ideas, but I think, and we are part of it, that I think PharmaLedger and the blockchain thing is part of that journey, and that makes it very exciting for all of us.
Yes, you're right. I think it's great, okay, because it's a completely different vision, okay. So actually, taking your words, Marco and Hernando and Dan, I mean, for the future, it's a different way of collaboration, because as Hernando says, like big companies that also compete in the market, okay. But it's nice to see that sharing a big infrastructure, okay, you are also have a new way to share data, and it's kind of like a very collaborative approach, okay, that also is taking the basis of the future as such. So in this contest, okay, how do you see, okay, that I mean, how do you see the pharmas, okay, will be getting closer not only to each other but also to the patients and actually in this ecosystem as such? Marco, for example, I mean, are these, do we have like really like our new technologies, or is something special in PharmaLedger or in the technologies that we have in PharmaLedger that really is helping to reach this, or do you see it as a very big approach that is only blockchain supporting this?
Yeah, you give me something which I very much like. I think in PharmaLedger we always tried to do something which is technology agnostic. So we don't want to bet on one blockchain technology or on one network. So we said we have to be open there. And we also said, as a philosophy, we do not store data direct on the blockchain for several reasons. I mean, GDPR is a word, but also dependency on a specific technology. So we came up, or we based on another project, which we then evolved in PharmaLedger. We call that OpenDSU, what we call data sharing unit. And it's really about the idea how to share data in a decentralized world, but still preserving confidentiality and data privacy. Because when you think about the Bitcoin, the most famous blockchain, everything is transparent there. But maybe you don't want that your health records are so transparent. So we have a technology, and we're not the only one. There are lots of others with a similar idea, but I think we built something very lean and really to the point, generic. It can be also used outside PharmaLedger in other industries, so it's not only limited to the pharma industry. So therefore, with this technology, we allow let's say, in the pharma industry or in PharmaLedger, that all these different use cases can collaborate together or are interoperable and can be leveraged. So the developers have not to focus on the blockchain technology, they can focus on the solution. So this is something I think where we are very proud of and which helps us in the future.
Yeah, I mean, to add on that in terms of engaging and empowering the patients, you know, one of our use cases is called electronic product information or e-leaflet, which is basically putting the package insert into a digital form, which is accessible through a scan of the medicine pack. And this is designed to provide the latest approved information to the patients in a way that may be easy to navigate and to find. and also give them the information, you know, that's really relevant for them. And PharmaLedger is not the only project that's focused on that. There's another one, another IMI project as well. But this is just a start. Actually, this electronic product information could serve as basically a platform or a foundation for many other added innovations, such as notifications of product information updates. It could provide maybe some adherence information. It could enable or facilitate adverse event reporting. We could implement anti-counterfeiting capabilities into that as well, drug interaction information, drug disposal information. So there's really no limit to this. And then, as I think, like as Marco said, I mean, if eventually people are able to store the specific batch of the medicine that they took to their electronic health record, and that information, and their identity is not identified anywhere, privacy is preserved, that's really about giving some value to the patient in the future.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Marco, also. Dan, know that, I mean, linking your answer and your comments, okay? It's true that we have a very, very big focus in the patient and getting this empowerment, the patient and getting privacy-enabled schemas for sharing the data. But let's not forget also a little bit that we are in this, we cover this big value chain, okay, also for the pharma companies that go upstream, downstream also. Can you comment a little bit also how this, the future and how this is impacting, okay, in the area of your area, which is also supply chain, okay, because we also have all this pressure as companies, okay, and well, companies have all this pressure for improving also this part of productivity, developments, and actually saving in time and cost.
Right. I mean, I think one of the key arguments that we've always had is that, you know, the current environment is very fragmented. There's a lot of different systems, and between different organizations, there are silos, data silos, system silos, culture silos. There can even be silos within one organization. A big company can have different silos. And what we envision also from a supply chain perspective is basically kind of an end-to-end single source of truth, a common, trusted backbone that everybody can access and use to confidentiality, access, or share the data that they are that they need. That there's transparency, there's visibility, and that's basically happens in the kind of a real-time way from the end-to-end process, all the way from the original sourcing of raw materials through to the dispensing and the usage by the patient. So that's kind of the how we envision it from a supply chain perspective, where maybe it's not a B2C or, you know, a customer, but a B2B kind of a setup, a business-to-business setup.
Great, thank you very much. Yes, actually, the fragmentation and silos of information is actually, I think it's something that it can be extrapolated not only to that area, but also to the healthcare and actually in the health data, and I guess to all the domains, okay, somehow. We have a couple of questions from the audience, okay, that we would like to approach. So the first one is like, they would like to know also your perspective and vision regarding the digital divide that might cause, I guess, the blockchain or the PharmaLedger blockchain approach, okay, in this in digitalization. So actually the question is like, PharmaLedger thinking about the digital divide when it's thinking of digital health of or at the global level.
I'll take a little stab at that. I don't think I'll be able to answer it fully because it's a pretty big divide right now, but I'll share this with you. I think to Dan's point, there's a lot that we do know, and there's a lot that's progressing quite nicely. And there's things that are happening faster than even I would have thought. But there's also things that we don't know yet. And what our work is kind of putting a light on is those things that don't yet have a great solution. And maybe this is one of the ways we can do that. I'll share with you an example. I'm an old school guy. I'm a historian. I grew up in the days of this thing called the internet coming around. And Marco can appreciate this, right? Without DNS servers, our world and our internet usage would be very, very different. And so for me, sometimes when we talk about the impact that this thing called blockchain, right, or crypto, if you will, has on us, it's starting to shape out, right? So we may not be delivering front-facing solutions with everything around blockchain and crypto, but you're talking about things that are revolutionizing models right now that have been laggards. So we're learning that there are chances and there is opportunities, just like there was with the DNS servers that launched the browser wars. Blockchain has that potential where it's going to spur new ideas and new innovations that could impact things that we don't even know about yet, and we haven't even started tackling yet. The PharmaLedger work is 9 use cases. I mean, I work in an industry that's just fraught with processes, right? And we can only begin to understand what this work is going to do to some of those, from a transparency, from trust, from the immutability aspect of it, right? We're a governed business, so what's better than having trust and immutability in your work? So I think that's going to be something very interesting. And I think being part of the consortium is, like I like to say, helping us shape that conversation and shape the future. So hopefully we'll be able to maybe narrow that divide a little bit. I don't know if that's the answer we're looking for, but that's the one I can give you.
Maybe
Yes,
I can just add a little bit. You know, the approach I think we're thinking is that the innovations that we're creating are not going to in any time in the near future replace existing systems and processes that are there. That is it's something which is seen as maybe complementary to the current way of working and the way people get their healthcare. But as Fernando said, I mean, we don't know all the answers. We don't know all the questions even yet. But we are also, but I think one of the benefits that we have with blockchain, we're talking about an ecosystem. We're talking about involving all the parties in an exclusive manner, not in an exclusive manner. There's not one group here that's mandating this is the way it's going to work. If it's properly defined and if it's properly designed and implemented, then the blockchain solution has a benefit for all involved. So for all parties, everybody should get some value from it. So I think we're very fortunate in PharmaLedger to have two different patient organizations as part of the consortium, and who are engaged on the different use cases and providing a lot of different feedback on the patient perspective. And by the way, we're all patients, right? So that's also helpful.
Sure, I agree. Marco, do you want to comment something?
No, I think we heard all. Maybe one little thing. I think this digital divide is a topic, but we have to divide it in 2 parts. One is the blockchain, which is we are looking for the benefit for the companies or the organizations, which then indirectly helps the patient, whether this is whether this is a better product or the product is quicker at the place where he or she needs it. And then, of course, it's the end user, the patient, who is using it. And there is maybe something which can drive this digital divide, or hopefully we can close it a little bit more. And there's maybe also then solutions we have to think for people who have not access to the, let's say, the internet or other digital elements which you need. Yeah, but I'm an IT guy, so for me, there is, hard to believe that people, I mean, I know there are people that have no access and I know there are limitations, but something we have to think.
For sure.
I'm maybe not the right guy to have here the solution.
No, but for sure, I think we all shall agree. And I think there's something very important commented by Dan and by Hernando. And I think that the fact that in PharmaLedger, okay, we're creating this additional transparency, as Hernando said, but not only transparency, but also accountability, meaning that the rules are clear for all the players and stakeholders in the digital trust. I think it's quite a big advance to manage at least a little bit more efficiently, let's say that way, this kind of digital divide as such, or try to advance and reduce it as much as we can as such. So I'll go with the next question also. In the next question, what we have is that I think the question is for you, Marco, because it says, where do you store the off-chain data? How do you implement data access in terms of authentication and authorization? And what's the process of guaranteeing the integrity of the DSUs that is distributed among many databases? So it's quite a long question, but 3 in 2.
It's a lot of, so I have a tendency to say, I think that needs a separate meeting to do that. The OpenDSU is a framework which solves all these problems. Whether we store the off-chain data depends on the use cases. The EPI, for example, each pharma company is storing their own data, so they are still in control of the data, but they give access to everyone. We encrypt all the data, so you need the key to read it. So this is also guaranteeing the integrity. Authentication and authorization, of course, depends on the use case. We work here with different tools around that. So it's all about, we have the term here key SSIs, so identifiers with where you have your private and public key stuff. So there is a whole package. The OpenDSU framework is solving all these things. If there is more interest, I'm more than happy to get in contact with you and walk you through the technology and what we're using in PharmaLedger. But I think otherwise I would need an hour. I know Dan would love to listen to that, and Hernando would be even excited to it.
Thank you very much, Marco. We don't have more questions from the audience right now, okay? But we still have really about, I think, 4 minutes, okay, for them.
Can I add something to Marco's comments? Because it's really relevant and important. So one of the things that became an aha moment for us, as you know, so in the European theater, you have GDPR, right? And GDPR is incredibly important, and we know that, and no one's shunning the fact that it's important. But one of the things that became very apparent to us is with the work that we're doing, patients get a chance to get all the benefits, the immutability, the trust, the transparency. But at the same time, because of these open DSUs that Marco's constructed, you have the ability also of patients to be forgotten, right? And that to us became such a blocker years ago when we started looking at this. Now, a patient or a solution can take patient data, and if a patient says, in the respect to our clinical trials, if he or she says, look, I don't want to be involved anymore, we have a way now to forget them, to honor the GDPR and say, look, on blockchain, you've got all the trusts and security, but at the same time, when you say thanks but no thanks, we got a solution for you now that's GDPR compliant, which is fantastic. That to us is huge, right? It opens up the door to a lot of work that we'd love to be able to explore.
Yeah. It's one reason why not to store data on the blockchain directly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Hernando. Will you advance a little bit to the wrapping question that I was going to ask you all, because actually since we have these 4 minutes and no questions, and actually I would like each of you to provide to say what is the one of the most important or maybe key points, okay, that you have experienced during PharmaLedger in the areas where you work. Okay, I know you are working with all these areas of the patient, so maybe let's start with that. So actually, we give a space a little bit to Hernando to go to the patients again, since he answered already a little bit with the GDPR.
Okay, so I'll start. I think so. We had the technology question, and that's a key component. I mean, really, of the solution. We're talking about blockchain here. But I think, what really becomes, for me, the biggest success and the biggest, thing of promise for the future is the collaboration that we get with the like-minded partners within the PharmaLedger. I mean, so everybody is really working together as a team. And this is great, but we also see a lot of external interest in this. We have a number of other manufacturers and also some service providers now that are engaged with the project, not as members of the consortium, but engaged on the specific testing or the piloting of things like this. And it's for me, it's just great to see the power of the collaboration. What's possible when people are focused on solving the same problem. And this also extends to other organizations. I mean, just like the European Blockchain Convention, when we decided to partner with EBC, we saw it was really, we had the same goals, we had the same intentions, to make people aware about what the possibilities are, to educate them, and to get their interest and support for these types of initiatives, whether it's PharmaLedger or other ones in healthcare or in other industries.
Okay, Marco, for you, but for you also, I guess there is a couple of questions also that has just came, that is the DSU an already open published standard, and if there are resources of DSU that can be shared. So I guess you answered a little bit with your
email. It's I said on opendsu.com you find information, but it's more for developers. If you really, I think you need a kind of a walkthrough about the concepts, because it's a different approach. The blockchain and the thing is coming with a different approach. So it's good to understand the concept. So I'm more than happy to give a quick walkthrough to it. But you can start with opendsu.com, looking into it. It's more for developers' thought. So it's a
Marco, didn't you do an EBC technical school session for?
Yeah, we did that. A couple of weeks ago. There was a kind of a training for that. That is true. There's maybe there's a recording out for that. Yeah, oh, good. You remember the things better than I. God.
Well.
Good. My second brain, or my main brain.
We'll be closing now, but just Victoria, I'm sorry, Hernando. I mean, would you like to have a last message to the audience?
Yeah, I think I echo Dan's sentiments. The ability and the power of all the pharma companies, sponsors working together is incredible. And then for us, one of the things that we've gotten out of this is when we go back home, we don't talk about blockchain anymore. We talk about the value of this technology. So we talk to business people about what this could be. It's no longer, you talk about blockchain, they roll their eyes and they think we're talking crypto. We're not. We're talking about business value. And that to us has been huge, because we're now opening the door that once was closed because they thought it was some crypto or technology that they didn't understand. So for us, that's been a game changer also.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And actually to the audience, we also would like to thank you very much. As part of PharmaLedger, I agree with the comment of Michael. It's been great to participate in a project where we all coming from different organizations are sharing, okay? And not only to develop a platform, a technical platform, as Marco said, but to create an ecosystem, because we think we're reshaping not only the future of sharing data, but also reshaping how the organizational cultures are going to get to really adopt, this kind of approach. So we would like to thank again, the EBC and the European Blockchain Convention for the opportunity of presenting PharmaLedger and our experience here with you. Big thanks to the panelists sharing your experience, and expertise with us. Also, thanks to the audience for having joined us today. And last but not for least, on behalf of the PharmaLedger Consortium, we would like to wish you the best for this coming year, 2022, and we hope everything is great. So, and thanks, Victoria.
Thank you, Xenia. Thank you, Daniel, or Dan, Marco, and Hernando. And true, you did recently, I think a month ago or 3 weeks ago, you did a lecture at the European Tech School. So we have a video there. And this is actually for our students, but we will make sure to make it available for our whole community. So I think this will be very useful. Was it 1.5 hours of lecture, Marco, more or less?
Yeah, even more than less.
Okay.
Wow.
So it was a very good lecture. So we will make sure that all of you get access to it. So yeah, thank you very much to PharmaLedger, to the 4 of you. I mean, it's great to be working with you for the last 2 years. And I look forward to next year. Hopefully we will see each other face to face. We said the same in the last edition, and here we are online. So let's see if we can meet in Barcelona next time. I hope. Thank you so much.
Hopefully.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.